Braver is a class that excels in both range and melee combat. Pierce and slash your way through enemies with bows and katanas, cause we are going Braver. Welcome to my guide for the Braver class. What's going on, Saviors? GH here. We're gonna go straight to the point. So let's do this. We're gonna explain Braver skills first. First up is Brave Combat. At first activation, it's a buff that reduces PP consumption by 20% and increases PP recovery when you basic attack. And it's for 30 seconds duration, and if you activate it again when Brave Combat is still active, you will unleash a Braver attack that deals high amounts of damage. And if you're using a katana, it's a wide area attack around you, and if it's a bow, it will fire a concentrated range area attack centered on a target. Keep in mind that a Braver subclass can use Brave Combat, and that can give you whatever your main class is at the moment, one high damaging attack. Now let's get on the Braver Combat sub-skills. And the one straight under is Brave Combat Short Cycle. It cuts down the duration of Brave Combat in half when maxed, and in exchange, it also cuts down cooldown in half, which makes it 15 seconds duration and 1 minute cooldown when it's level 5. This is a skill that you either max it or not. And the reason why you don't take it is an excellent PP reduction build, and you want it to last longer and you will get more skill points to put on other skills. Now, the reason you max this is because you just want the Brave Combat attack. Plus, burning your PP usually don't last 15 seconds, and most likely you don't have a PP reduction build. And there's more reason to just max it out, because an opportunity for a high damage dealing attack to hit or matter only lasts for a few seconds, and it's better to just use it immediately or after quick burning your PP than use Brave Combat attack to damage an enemy and get it on cooldown so you could use it frequently. Now, the one on the side is called Brave Combat Final Bonus. It basically heals your HP and PP depending on the number of hits done when Brave Combat is active. This applies to both katana and bow, but bow absolutely don't need this because bow doesn't need PP or heals that much. Now, it changes when you main katana because katana burns through an ungodly amounts of PP, and as a melee, you most likely get hit a lot. So you're gonna benefit from the heals and PP recovered. What I usually do is activate Brave Combat, then use one of the photon arts of katana called Lotus Lightning. I spam it, and when I can't attack anymore, I then activate Brave Combat attack, which will deal damage, heal me, and recover some PP. It keeps it simple and less stressful managing Brave Combat. Next skill over here is Brave Combat Close Range. If you attack, it makes you go near the enemy when Brave Combat is active. Here is a sample. The other one over here is Brave Combat Arrow Mates, and it makes you resist launches and knockback at a point slightly after using a photon art when Brave Combat is active. This is a useless skill, do not get this because you will not do this or would wanna do this. You will be away from the enemy raining arrows from afar. Next skill is Resta effect Amplifier. No, just know the base Restasigne effect is good enough as it is. Now this one here is called Break Fall HP Gain. It heals you when you break your fall. Get level 1. Then this one here is Mighty Guard. You can choose to get this or not. If you're proficient with perfect guarding or countering, you wouldn't need this. Now for the katana specific skills, we got Katana Guard Counter here, which automatically executes a counter attack after a perfect guard. It has two sub skills, Katana Guard Counter Advance, which adds a shockwave to counters, and then Fearless Attitude, which makes you immune to incoming damage in front of you after using a normal attack or a photon art. Here is a sample. As you see here, when I press a normal attack once or a photon art once, a barrier will appear, which indicates damage immunity at the front. And when you get hit at that small window of immunity, you will execute a counter attack automatically. Now, this skill is cool and all that, but it takes a lot of practice to pull this off consistently. Last katana skill here is Katana PA Combo Retention. This allows you to mix up your katana photon arts and still be able to pull a stronger version of the specified photon art at the third use. You wouldn't really take advantage of this as much unless you're conserving PP. Now, bow skills. First we got here is Bow Illusion Counter. This allows you to unleash a counter attack after a successful dodge with weapon action. Here's a sample. The next bow skill here is Tracer Arrow, which gives your normal attack homing capability. Then lastly, Bow Illusion Plus. This one allows you to quick dodge attack after a photon art by pressing a directional button and weapon action at the same time. And here is a sample. You will use this a lot because this can help you recover PP and be mobile at the same time. And here is my PSO2 NGS Braver Skill 3. Now let's start with the braver weapons, katana and bow. Now katana is a close range weapon with the ability to guard and use combo attacks. More specifically, after using 2 photon arts, the 3rd photon art will be stronger, supposedly, because the damage increase is questionable. Now katana has 4 photon arts. First is weapon action, which is your guard. It reduces incoming damage, and when timed properly, it can nullify damage. Second photon art is Silver Leaf Storm. It's a 2 slash attack in front, and at the 3rd stage of combo, it becomes 1 wide slash attack in front. You wouldn't use this as much except if you're conserving PP, because using 2 Silver Leaf Storm at base only costs 26 PP. You can just switch photon art at the 3rd stage of combo to minimize PP usage. The question there is it worth it? To me, it's just a bother. Just use the next 2 skills for AoE and single target. Now, those next 2 PA is Iris Glade and Lotus Lightning. Iris Glade is your area attack, perfect to use on enemies close together. And Lotus Lightning is a single target attack. This would be your bread and butter. This is the one that will burn your PP when Brave Combat is active, because it generates a lot of hits, which in turn will generate more PP. Okay, now recommended katana for Braver. I would suggest getting a Forces Katana with Fixa attack. A level 2 Fixa attack would be okay, but of course, the closer you are to level 5, the better. Now, why did I choose Forces Katana? It's because of its potential that gives you a barrier, and since you're a melee, getting hit is almost guaranteed. Now, Bow Photon Arts. It has 4. First is your weapon action, which will help you do a perfect dodge or add an additional attack after a photon art. Second photon art is Flex Arrow. This is your main bow PA. You can quick press it or charge it. At the first charge, it will make Flex Arrow penetrate the target and deal extra damage. And if you charge it even longer, it will do this animation that locks you in place, and it indicates that it's on the final phase of the charge, and releasing it will inflict insane amount of damage. This is where increasing your range potency is much more noticeable. Next photon art is Frenzied Firework. It's your area attack, and when quick pressing it, it does a long range targeted area attack. And when you charge it, it becomes a close range area attack. This skill is just bad, don't use it. Last photon art is Dimensional Ray, and it allows you to do an area attack that lasts for a few seconds. And when you charge it, it becomes a buff that adds an arrow attack when any of your bow photon art hits. Here is a sample. You see that arrow that appeared? That's the additional arrow attack from a charged Dimensional Arrow. Now, recommended bow for Braver. Right now, there's no real bow that affects bow performance greatly, so just make sure you get a bow with a Fixa attack. Now, multi-weapon guide for Braver. It's always a great idea to multi-weapon a wild lance to your katana because it helps you get closer to enemies. And if your subclass has the ability to use a wild lance, it will also give an option to use the amazing area photon arts of wild lance. Another option is Talus, because multi-weaponing Talus to either a katana or bow will help you generate PP because the weapon action button of Talus summons a turret that auto-attacks enemies, and that will recover you some PP. Now, how would you approach augments? My advice is focus on either range or melee, because if you use augments that gives both, you will get lower damage, and Braver in terms of damage isn't great, so you should focus on one. Now, subclass time. At the moment, August 2021, my main pick is Fighter, because it will help with damage increase when enemies are downed, because believe me, you're gonna need all the damage increasing available, because Braver is not at the top of the heap when it comes to damage. Now, of course, Force is always good because of PP recovery, which Force excels at, and it has a skill that gives you a burst of PP recovery that will help you dish out more photon arts, plus it will give you elemental attacks. Another option is Gunner. This is also a great option due to the fact that it increases your PP recovery when basic attacking, which will help if you're dishing out damage non-stop. And Gunner also offers the ability to use rifle photon arts, which includes homing darts, which is one of the best multi-target attack in the game, and that's Braver. All in all, I'm a bit disappointed in terms of damage, but it's understandable because Braver is good in both melee and range, and because of that, Braver is not a specialist. But I must say, playing Braver is fun. Katana is a flashy weapon, you can go Samurai X, and for some reason, bow is really fun to use. And that's my Braver guide. I hope this helps. And if there's anything else, just ask in the comments. And if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, share, and then subscribe to be part of the gaming hardcore family. And as always, This is Gaming Hardcore. See you in the next one.